Hi, hello once again. I'm still in my car, haven't moved. I thought I'll do another video quickly, because these are quite quick videos, so I thought I'd just do another subject quickly. Before I start, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please click the button below. Please comment below and let me know what you think. Please join my online support group, Phoenix Rising, and let me know if I can help you with anything. I love to hear from everybody. So please subscribe and let me know and get in contact. Right, today's subject is immigration. I don't know an awful lot about immigration. What I do know is that a lot of people are sat in Bangladesh and Pakistan and India, although come over on a student visa, and they target vulnerable women and girls, people who have been subject to abuse in the past, people who have had issues with their family, people who are isolated, people who do not have much support and help. So they target these people. They will make them feel like they love them. They make them feel that they care about them. They genuinely care about them. I think I've already spoken about the subject where a friend of mine, you know who you are, was targeted by someone in Bangladesh, sat in his house possibly, and he's trying to persuade her and convince her that he loves her, he cares for her, genuinely he cares for her, he just wants what's best for her, his family want what's best for her, and she's falling for it, and she's been falling for it. And it's not until she mentioned it to me that I said, oh my god, they just want to come here. They just want a visa. They just want a spouse visa. They're going to marry you. They're going to come here and they're just going to use you. They're no different to anybody else. You know, a lot of the people that we meet here, especially with divorcees and widows, you know, they think that we're desperate, that we will marry anybody, that we just, you know, we're desperate to get laid, we're desperate to get remarried, we've got kids, we haven't got any, you know, help and support, we're ostracized in our society, so we are gonna just go for whoever we can. And these people know exactly what to say, they know exactly how to behave, they know exactly how to make us feel that they are genuine and they genuinely care about us when they don't. And we fall for it. We do fall for it. I fell for it. You know, the first time I was forced to get married, I didn't have a choice. The second time, I fell prey to a narcissistic abuser who needed a spouse visa to stay in the UK. He was on a student visa in Birmingham. Excuse me. He was on a student visa in Birmingham, but he didn't want to study. He wanted to find a girl and get married. Now, he had options of single young girls. He chose me because I was mature, because I'd already been married. I had 2 children. I could create a loving, caring environment for him with minimal effort from him. So he literally picked his bags up, he picked up a few of his belongings, and he turned up at my doorstep, and that's how he came. So for him, it was a ready-made environment, you know. What more could he ask for? He didn't have to do anything, he just had to look pretty. You know, he had this, it's a pretty boy syndrome where, well, I'm good looking, I don't have to do anything. You know, girls are going to flock at my feet. Girls are going to go out of their way to do everything for me, you know. And in a way, that's what happened, because I fell head over heels in love with him. And as far as I could see, he was everything I wanted in a husband. He was good looking, but other than the good looking, it was mainly the fact that I needed a father figure for my 5-6-year-old son. He was missing his dad. His dad had left, and he was really struggling, and he needed another father figure. So for me to remarry, that was one of the main criteria, was somebody who was going to be good with him and was going to replace his dad and give him the love and the care and the support that he needed. And this narcissist persuaded me that he was the right person. I had other options, I had other choices I could have gone for. I chose him because of the options and the choices I had, it seemed like he was the best person for the job. The first day he came down, you know, he spent a lot of time on the computer playing computer games with my son. For me, that was possibly the winning ticket for me, is that he had bonded with my son straight away. They had an amazing bond. He was playing with him. You know, he seemed loving, he seemed caring. We went shopping. He offered to pay for the shopping. He offered to carry the shopping bags. You know, he seemed really understanding when it took me a bit longer than I should have done to cook for him. You know, he just seemed genuinely a nice person. But that's what they do. They fake this persona that is nothing like the actual person. And stupidly, actually, the first time I set eyes on him in real life, so it wasn't on video or on the phone or talking on Skype, he had turned up at Southampton on a coach from Birmingham. But his coach was early, so he'd told me a certain time. So, for example, he said told to be at 2 o'clock, but he turned up at 1:30. I wasn't ready because I was still really busy getting everything ready for him, sorting things out, doing the hoovering, you know, tidying up, and this kind of stuff. So when he messaged to say he was here, I was panicking. I was like, well, I'm not ready. I can't get down there. You know, I'll be a bit late. So, you know, I'd planned to be ready for 2 o'clock. Because he was going to be here at 2:20 or something like that, or to 2:30. It actually took me until 2:30 to get there, which is what the original time was that I'd, you know, planned for. So I was planning for 2:30. He turned up at 1:30. I couldn't get down there sooner. So he had a face like thunder. When I saw him the first time, his face was distorted. It's that classic look that a narcissist has. It's distorted. Their eyes are bulging out, you know, they just look so scary. They look like something, you know, you've never seen before. So for a horror movie, that's what they look like when they're in that narcissistic rage. And that's what he looked like the first time I saw him. I should have run a mile, you know. I should have thought, I'm not going to be with this person, and run a mile. I didn't. I took it on myself that it's my fault. I turned up an hour late. You know, he's stood there in the cold. It was January, so it was winter. He stood there in the cold, and I turned up an hour late. So it's my fault. So it's not him. He's not at fault for, you know, the fact that he turned up at the wrong time, that he turned up too early. So that's not my fault. So I should have just said, well, there's nothing I can do about that. But he persuaded me to feel that it was my fault. So instantly, the first time I saw him in real life, I was feeling guilt. I was feeling confusion. I didn't understand what was going on. And he had this look on his face, and I thought, gosh, he looks so different. He's a completely different person. You know, it's like I didn't recognize him. Unfortunately, that seemed to happen more and more, where he would suddenly get into fits. He'd suddenly throw a tantrum. He'd suddenly get angry and abusive and aggressive. And that's how it went on for 10 years. He was just abusive. And when he couldn't be physically abusive, it was verbal abuse, mental abuse, financial abuse, sexual abuse, in the sense that he would withdraw himself. And, you know, as far as he's concerned, I have no rights on him. I, you know, have no rights to expect to sleep next to him. Because, you know, as far as he's concerned, he can do what he likes, you know. So there was a lot of other abuse going on. The physical abuse stopped after a few years, but it became a very emotional, psychological, coercive control. Things that you can't explain to people. You know, you're chipping away at your self-esteem and self-confidence, and you have no idea what's going on. You cannot understand what's going on. You cannot explain what's going on. You know, somebody says, how is he abusive to you? What do you say? He's horrible. The way he talks to me, the way he treats me, the way he makes me feel. The way he, you know, it's just awful. You don't expect to feel like this, but you do. I find it really upsetting talking about him because things are still quite raw. I mean, it was 1st of January 2021 that I'd kind of like cleaned up my closet and said, right, that's it. All the negative people are going out of my life. This narc has got nothing to do with me anymore. You know, he's not going to have any control in my life anymore. But I still struggle sometimes talking about it. I think the chronic loneliness in narcissism is definitely a killer. You can go through the worst, you know, hell for years with a narcissist. When they leave and there's this empty, gaping hole inside you, what do you do with that? What do you fill it with, you know? Who can fill that? How can you fill it? And the amount of people that I've spoken to that are really struggling with this chronic loneliness, you know, it's just empty. And sometimes you just crave a hug. That's all you want, is somebody just to hug you and tell you everything's going to be okay, you know, it's all right, it's not as bad as it seems. And there's nobody, and you've got this empty hole and this empty gap, and you think, what can I do with you? And I can understand why people go into drinking, people get into drugs, people get into criminal behaviour, they start sleeping around. It is to fill this gap because they do not understand how they can fill it. And I'm getting to the point where, you know, I think I have been at the point where I'm struggling. Like, I just want a hug sometimes, just someone to reassure me, to tell me that I'm okay. And you can't, you've got no one. So I'm just gonna go now because it's just upsetting me now. But please subscribe below. Please let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care. Bye.